Welcome
to my
hair
channel.
tutorial.
Hey guys, welcome to the video. This is my mom behind me, and this is mommy. Mommy's behind me. This diamond behind me. Say hi, Mom.
Y'all heard my baby. Welcome back for another one of her hair tutorials. So today we're going to be doing French braids, aka cornrows. We're going to be doing them lemonade style, and we're starting off with clean washed hair, doing braids for her. Wait a minute, look at this shrinkage. So this is what her hair on the left side looks like naturally when you braid it, and then this is what it looks like blow dried. This is the first time I've ever blow dried her entire head, in one sitting. As I said before, we started off with clean hair. We washed it the day before and detangled, put it in 4 braids. Today we went ahead and blow dried it for a little bit of an easier experience for her. She's extremely tender-headed. You don't know how much editing I did to this video to not showcase how tender-headed she is. I can literally be braiding the end of her hair and she will freak out. So it takes a lot to get her hair done. I understand why stylists say no kids, but let's get right into the braiding. So once we went ahead and blow dried the hair, I sectioned it off. Here I'm going to start off at the back, and I'm going to just braid like from her nape from one side to the other, kind of going in a diagonal. And if you kind of just mute the video and watch after the tutorial, you'll kind of see exactly what my technique is for these. Again, these are lemonade braids, kind of like the Beyonce lemonade braids that everyone talks about. I am using a edge control wax type of situation. I believe this is called beeswax. This is very popular, and I watched like viral videos on Instagram of people doing hair. They always use this product. I was out of the product I normally use, so I tried this since I already had some on hand, and you'll see throughout this video it gave me something weird. Like it gave like white, clumpy, chunky. Ultimately it worked, and I like the way it went on her hair. I think for me, I just was applying it wrong, or I don't know what I was doing, but we're 2 braids in, and so far so good. If I did not mention, Dakota is 3. She turned 3 back in May, and she's little, she's young, so it's hard to get her to sit for a long period of time. And on top of that, as I mentioned, she is very tender-headed. So this literally for me is like take a day and just dedicate to doing her hair. Not necessarily because it takes a long time, but more so because I gotta go slower than I normally would if she wasn't tender-headed. With the parting, I literally have to kind of like pull the pieces apart and take my very time. Also with the braiding, typically like you would braid and then separate the hair, braid, separate the hair. With her, like after each time like I swoop the hair into another like latch of braid, I have to make sure it is detangled, because if I catch any snag, she is not gonna have it at all. Also because she's tender-headed, the parting sometimes in certain sections could be a little bit neater, but I kind of just if I can get it like this neat, I'm happy. And as you guys can see, I'm working that edge control into the hair, and then when I start, I kind of just will start braiding it the best I can as close to the head, and just get a hang of it as best I can. And sometimes when I start, it honestly looks like this is not gonna work, and somehow some way it works and it comes together. I actually braided her hair for the first time during our self-quarantine a couple of months ago. So this here was my actual 3rd time braiding her hair, like the entire head. So I'm very impressed with myself. I'm really impressed with her patience. I'm impressed that I actually I started a braid and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And like by the time I'm done, it actually looks really good. So moms, if you can like pretend or practice with one little piece of hair on a day that you're actually not going to braid it, and you can actually braid like a flat braid that aka a cornrow, then you actually can braid the entire head. Like I said before, I designated an entire day, that way I can take my time. I believe this took maybe about 3 hours. Now if like when she gets a little bit older and she gets used to getting her hair braided, I honestly think I can like get this done in an hour and a half max, because it really isn't a lot, but I just have to be able to go without being as patient with a toddler as I do. So patience. Also, The first 2 times I braided her hair, I did not have any nail extensions on. I honestly forgot to take the nail extensions off. So when I parted out that first braid, and I'm like, why is it so hard? I'm like, girl, you forgot to take off these nails. And they was just like, oh, well, we're going to just go with it. They appear to be short, but it makes a huge difference because I want the braids to be tight and flat and smooth and neat, but I don't want to, you know, like poke at her hair. And then, you know, when you start the braid, it's pretty thin, and so it's hard to get in there and really grip. Also, give me a thumbs up if you really like these hair tutorials with the kids. If you do, I'm gonna go ahead and do one maybe once every other week. That way you get twice a month. So let me know if you're interested. If you like it, thumbs up, and that's how I'll know. Have you seen the viral video when the dad does this like motion with the kid's hair to make her bun? I tried it and it definitely did not work out, but you know, had to clip the hair up. Now with this edge control wax situation, the reason I'm using this is because first of all, it's gonna stamp out the parting. The parting is key to making a good neat braid. You can make a braid, like you can part the hair and braid it, but if you don't use something to like control the edges, so to speak, or control the parting or like separate the parting, you know, as you're braiding, you'll find yourself accidentally picking up pieces of hair outside of the parting, and this is going to prevent that completely. It literally will like move everything out of the way so that it's very easy to keep a straight parting. Also, the hair of course is natural, so with it, even with it being, you know, blow dried and smooth, have you ever, you know, braided your hair in 2 braids and seen, you know, how well it'll hold up? I find that when I use the edge control, the braids will just hold up a lot better and a lot longer. So they're smooth and they're sleek and they're neat, as you guys can see visually. If I do the same motion, they wouldn't have that smooth texture, or they wouldn't be as shiny. Literally, they probably would last about half the time if I did not add a product to it. Also, if you're doing this to your hair or to your kids' hair, be sure to oil the scalp as often as possible. I like to oil her scalp every other night, and it's so much easier to have access to her, you know, her scalp while her hair is braided. And then she wears her bonnet to bed every single night. We've implemented this into her goodnight routine and she actually loves it, which makes me happy. She doesn't wear like a scarf just yet where there's compression. Literally, she just wears a bonnet. It's kind of loose fitted. You know, by the morning sometimes it'll come off. But I just want her to get in the habit of, you know, taking care of her hair and understanding that it's important because, you know, we're African American and you gotta teach these kids from a young age routine of how to, you know, take care of our hair, keep the moisture in there and all of that. So, and even with styles, you want to protect it and preserve it to make sure it lasts longer, and that's exactly why she wears her bonnet. And I'm just happy that she likes it and she doesn't, you know, nag about it. She's always like, Mommy, I forgot to my bonnet, where's my bonnet? And you know, in the mornings when she gets up, she puts it back under her pillow. That way it's always close by and she never forgets. So yes, ladies, if your child is, you know, old enough to put on a bonnet, it makes a huge difference in, you know, preserving their hair and also protecting their hair. So I am speeding up the video in certain areas and slowing it down in certain areas. I really want to give you guys an opportunity to actually see what I'm doing. Now, I said before, I'm not a professional. I'm a lot better at braiding my own hair. I'm very careful not to braid too tight. This is tight, but it's not, you know, gonna pull her hair too much in this hairstyle, and that's what I like about it. Sometimes I feel like the ponytails will pull at her hair, especially her edges. So again, that's why I like these protective styles. I'll braid it like this and I literally won't touch her hair or pull on it or, you know, put any manipulation on it for like 2 or 3 weeks. With these braids, they last about 2 weeks. If you braid in a different style where the braids are a lot smaller and going in different directions, you can get it to last 3 weeks to a month. I've never used hair extensions on her just yet. I'm trying to hold out until she's at least 5 or 6. I know that it would help to preserve her hair much more as far as like, you know, getting her braids for the summer. That way I don't have to touch her hair, manipulate it for the entire summer or when we go on vacations and stuff. But, you know, she's still 3 years old, so I have to remember, you know, to preserve it as much as possible. So her edges are a little bit thinner in the front. I do like to pull out a little bit of hair for baby hair. Baby hair is something we love in my household. So I kind of pulled out the little sideburn and twisted it in the opposite direction. And now we're going to work some magic. You guys see her edges are a little bit thinner. I have nails on. Honestly, at this point, I was like, this is not going to work. I'm going to have to take a break and take these nails off. But honestly, it worked out. And you'll see, like right now, you're going to be like, how are you going to get a braid right there? And you're going to see in just a second, it's going to work out and it's going to look good. It's going to look neat. What I do notice about her hair and the health of her hair is that, you know, my goal is to get her hair to be as healthy as possible. I want to do the best I can to maintain her hair so that when she's a little older, or much older rather, you know, like middle school, I want to start teaching her about healthy hair. I feel like a lot of times with young Black girls, when you get into like middle school age and you start doing your hair yourself, your hair falls out, you don't really know what you're doing, you don't listen to mom, you know, and I just want her to be proactive about being in control of her hair. If she wants it short, she can have it short. If she wants it long, she can have it long. If she wants it natural, you know, whatever she wants in the future, she can have. But while, you know, I'm in charge of her hair, I want to do the best I can to keep it healthy and happy and, you know, make sure she's looking good. So that's why we're learning, you know, about oiling the scalp, braids, and protective styles. I believe braids look so beautiful, so beautiful. And of course, it gives you an opportunity to give your hair a rest, because while it's braided, you're not pulling. Like I said before, she wears ponytails most days, and I do honestly feel like the ponytails will pull at your hair, especially when you're doing them daily, and make more friction than if you have braids. So I'm thinking about dedicating, you know, the next year to keeping her hair predominantly braiding and seeing what we can get out of that. Also, I've noticed when I blow dried her hair is a little bit, or her ends rather, are in need of a really good trim. Now, I'm not scared of losing the length, but more so just nervous about cutting it myself. Now, I don't want anyone else to do it, because then I feel like she'd end up with a bob. I want to be able to learn how to trim her ends. So I'm going to look up some videos on YouTube and see if anyone can share any tips and tricks on how to, you know, pretty much trim the ends of a toddler without like pressing their hair out. And I want to be able to maintain that as well, keeping her ends trimmed, her scalp moisturized, protected, and all of that. So yeah, if you have any tricks or tips for anything hair care, or if you know somebody who does, please DM me. I'm Ashley Bedeck on Instagram. I know I don't have comments right now, but that definitely would be a huge help, because I want to share her hair journey. And my youngest daughter, Dominic, you know, she's too young right now, but once she gets a little bit younger and a little bit more hair, they both will have hair tutorials just with mommy here on the channel. So let me know what you guys have. Give me all the tips, the tea, the tricks, rice water, whatever y'all got, let me know. So as you're going to see, I'm going to do the braids in 3 different angles, and this is what's going to give it a really nice look. I feel like when you just go from one side to the other, it almost looks like straight backs, but if you kind of change up the shape with the parting, it makes a huge difference. Also, you guys seen how thin her edges are? Once it's braided, it looks really good. Of course, it's thinner than like the center of her hair or the nape of her hair, but you know, when it's braided up, it looks really good. Also, you'll notice like that braid that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the 6th braid up, it gets a little thick, and that's kind of where she started to get a little bit anxious. And so I had parted it out, and I realized it was too thick. But again, parting is where she is unhappy the most. She does not like her hair parted, and again, that's why I blow dried it to make the parting easier. But still, she does not like the parting, and I tried my best to be, you know, as gentle as possible. But the braid was too thick. I could tell from the parting it was going to be too thick, but it was just like, you know, choose your battles. Do you want a thick braid, or do you want to, you know, repart it and go to war with Miss Dakota? And Dakota won on that one. There was the thick braid, and it's okay. Y'all know I talk a lot, but as I said before, the shape and parting of the hair makes a huge difference. So you can do straight backs, but if you add a little bit of curve or zigzag to it, it gives it something that is not so like jailhouse, so to speak. You know what I mean? So with her braids, even though I was just doing them all from one side to the other, I kind of had them going in 3 directions. So in the back, the first like 5 or 6 braids kind of were like all centered behind her ear, going from one ear to the other at an angle. And then I took like 3 or 4 braids and took them from like where her sideburns are and took them over to the opposite side in an angle. Now that we're at the top, these few are going to go from one side across to the other. So again, there are 3 angles, and this is the finished result. You kind of can see she's been crying a little bit. She was like, "Mommy, I'm ready to go play and have some fun." And it was like, "Mommy just has a couple more braids." And so that's why I did those couple off camera. We did take a lunch break in between this, but honey, we survived. Now I want you to rewind a little bit and go back to what they hair look like when we were just done. Even right now, you can see how it looks. It's neat, it's done right. I have no complaints, but I'm gonna show you a little trick of how to jazz it up. And everyone who's ever braided my hair, all my cousins and aunties and my mama's friends and the beauty salon stylist, or whatever the case may be, this is a trick they've always done with the braids. You take a foam lotion and you just completely saturate the braids with it. This brush here, I don't even remember where I got it. It may have been Sally's, it may have been Target, or it may have been the hair store, but I'm just going to take and load a bunch of the foam lotion on her edges. We like baby hair in this house because we do have big foreheads around here, and I'm just going to take a lot of it and swoop some baby hair, not necessarily specifically a certain way, but kind of just training the baby hair to go how I want it to go. Her scarf was upstairs, and honestly, like, she looks like she's in great spirits, but she's over it. So I just took a scarf I had handy downstairs. I really wanted to cover the entire head, like with a bandana, to get the best results. But now we're gonna just blow dry the hair, and that's why we like to have it like laid down flat with a scarf, because it's gonna help to make everything more flat. And pretty much you're setting the hair with that mousse and that heat, and you're gonna see literally what a difference it makes from when you just seen this clip start with her hair being done to after you add the wrap lotion. It's a huge difference, and you can see she loves the blow dryer. With that one simple step, we literally went from kitchen braids to salon braids.
Wow!
And clearly Dakota agrees. She loves her hair. She loves the way her hair feels when it hangs on her neck and on her back. She really, really does love it. Now we're gonna choose out her beads. At first we chose white, and then we switched it up and did white and clear.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Oh, hi. This is Skipper. Hi. I'm Skipper.
Now this little wand thing is essential. If you're going to order some beads, I got mine from Amazon and I'll have them linked down below. Order this thing as well. I'll have it in the description box. I don't know what it's called. She calls it a princess wand. But literally, like, how do you get the beads on there without using a tool? Like, I don't even remember as a child, did we have this? I don't remember having this thing. I don't remember my mom or anybody using this thing on my hair. Maybe they did, but like literally it's a lifesaver. You put the beads on in the pattern that you want. You swipe the hair or push the hair through the center, and then you pull everything on, and then the beads go on perfectly. And then from there you go ahead and use a small elastic rubber band to go ahead and secure it by taking like the bottom piece of your hair and like flipping it around the last bead, and then using the braid to, or I'm sorry, the rubber band to secure it, and then you have a bead that is not going anywhere.
Wow, it's so cute.
You like it?
Yeah.
Next up, this one will be getting her little braids in about a year's time. So Diamond, do you like your sister's hair?
Yeah.
Okay, next up I'm gonna braid your hair. Say please subscribe.
Subscribe.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you